It started with a whisper, then it became a thunderclap across Hollywood. Disney has quietly pulled Snow White from theaters and shelves across the country. No big announcement, no emotional farewell, just gone, erased, like they wanted to pretend. It never happened. To insiders, it was more than a failed release. It was a total system failure. Theaters sat empty, the merch didn't sell. Even Disney's top executives stopped talking about it. And at the center of this implosion, Rachel Zegler, the young actress once hailed as Hollywood's golden girl, now facing a career meltdown that has stunned even her biggest supporters. So, how did a billion-dollar reboot turn into a cautionary tale? What really happened behind the scenes? And why is Disney scrambling to rewrite history as fast as possible? Let's dive into the story Disney wishes you'd forget. The warning signs came early. Industry sources noticed something strange. Showtimes for Snow White were quietly disappearing from theater listings. Some cinemas didn't even finish their contractually obligated runs. The reason? No one was showing up. Even weekend screenings, normally the safest bet for a family-friendly Disney film, were ghost towns. One theater manager confessed, "We had more staff in the lobby than people in seats." Disney, seeing the numbers, panicked. Instead of rallying behind the movie, they began retreating from it. Merchandise was pulled, promotion stopped cold, mentions of the movie vanished from Disney's social channels and upcoming project briefings. It was as if Snow White never existed. For a company like Disney, this kind of behavior is rare. For them to bury a project this fast, the situation had to be worse than the public even realized. But the biggest fallout wasn't financial, it was personal. Because for Rachel Zegler, this wasn't just another role. It was supposed to be her crowning moment. Instead, it may have become the moment her entire career changed forever. Rachel entered this project with confidence, maybe too much confidence. From early interviews, it was clear she intended to bring her own voice and vision to the character, often at the expense of the original. In one viral clip, she called the original Snow White outdated and weird. She said her version would fix what the old film got wrong. To some fans, that sounded brave. To others, it sounded arrogant. The backlash was instant and unrelenting. Social media exploded with criticism. Fan pages disavowed the movie. Even neutral audiences began mocking Rachel's comments. But things took a darker turn when Rachel started reacting to the backlash in real time. She posted emotional videos to Instagram, trying to explain herself, often near tears. In one clip, she quoted a line about broken statues at the Louvre, saying, "I can only hope that despite my flaws, people will still want to see what I've made." It didn't land the way she hoped. Instead of empathy, the internet turned her words into memes. She became a trending topic, but for all the wrong reasons. Then came the moment that defined the disaster. A fan uploaded a short video walking into a 2 p.m. showing of Snow White on opening weekend. As they stepped inside, the camera panned across an almost completely empty theater. Just 2 people were there, scattered in the middle of a sea of empty seats. "It feels like a canceled school assembly," the fan whispered. The clip went viral within hours. Suddenly, Rachel's earlier statements about packed theaters and game-changing storytelling looked absurd. The memes came flooding. In Snow White and the 7 Empty Seats, she brought flowers to her own funeral, a press tour for a ghost town. And to make things worse, Rachel herself had shown up to that very theater, smiling, dressed up, holding flowers. What was meant to be a victory lap became the photo op of a collapse. Domestically, things were bad. Overseas, they were brutal. Lebanon, the government went beyond canceling screenings. They banned the film entirely. No theater runs, no digital distribution, not even DVD imports. The film didn't just flop. It was rejected. International press coverage of Snow White was dominated by headlines like, "Disney's woke experiment fails overseas." Global audiences aren't buying it. Snow White faces embargoes, empty seats, and embarrassment. This wasn't a case of a movie doing poorly in a few regions. This was global humiliation. And still, behind the scenes, things were getting worse. Because the cast wasn't just losing faith in the project, they were distancing themselves from each other. As the film unraveled publicly, it became clear things weren't going smoothly behind closed doors either. Rumors started leaking. Quiet whispers turned into confirmed stories. And then Gal Gadot, who played the evil queen, gave an interview that pulled the curtain back just enough to ignite a firestorm. She didn't slam Rachel Zegler directly. But she didn't defend her, either. When asked about the backlash, Gal spoke carefully. There was a misalignment at the corporate level. Translation? Don't blame me. This wasn't my vision. She hinted at chaos on set. No clear teamwork, creative confusion, and exhausting setbacks. In a single sentence, she confirmed what many suspected. This movie wasn't just failing, it had never been on stable ground. And then, the bombshell. When asked about her experience with Rachel, Gal answered, "I'll talk about that when I feel comfortable." That one line was all it took. Social media erupted. Speculation spread like wildfire. Every fan, critic, and pop culture blogger took it as confirmation. Working with Rachel Zegler wasn't easy. It didn't help that Rachel had already dismissed her co-star Andrew Burnap's role during a press event, casually joking, all his scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby. Imagine putting in months of work on a Disney film, only for your lead actress to joke publicly that you might not make the final cut. No surprise, Andrew didn't show up for the premiere. No red carpet, no interviews, not even a tweet. The set, it seemed, was toxic. And Rachel, she was now standing alone. Just as the dust was starting to settle, Disney made a move that shocked even insiders. They canceled Tangled. No trailer. No teaser, no public announcement. Just gone. Quietly pulled from development schedules. Why does that matter? Because Tangled was supposed to be Disney's next billion-dollar live-action reboot. And guess who was reportedly the top contender? To play Rapunzel, Rachel Zegler. It doesn't take a Hollywood executive to connect the dots. After the Snow White fallout, Disney wanted out. Out of controversy, out of headlines. And most of all, out of Rachel Zegler-centered reboots. To move forward, they had to cut her out of their future plans. Executives don't make billion-dollar decisions lightly. For them to cancel Tangled outright meant one thing. They saw Rachel, not just as a bad fit, but as a risk they could no longer afford. The message was clear. This wasn't about recasting. This was about survival. And Rachel Zegler had become too controversial to carry the brand. If everything up to this point was painful for Rachel, what came next was pure humiliation. Just weeks after Snow White limped into theaters, another live-action movie hit the big screen. A movie that critics mocked, fans ignored, until it dominated the box office. Minecraft. Yes, the pixelated sandbox game got a full-blown theatrical release, complete with Jack Black, quirky monsters, and zero drama. And it destroyed Snow White. In its opening weekend alone, Minecraft earned more than Snow White had managed in its entire domestic run. How? Simple. Audiences were exhausted by controversy. They didn't want politics, they didn't want lectures, they wanted fun. And Minecraft, goofy as it sounded, was fun. No one expected Minecraft to outperform a legacy Disney princess reboot. But that's exactly what happened. Critics started drawing brutal comparisons. Disney spent hundreds of millions just to lose to blocky zombies, and Jack Black yelling into a microphone. This isn't just a flop, it's a cultural rejection. By now, it was clear. Snow White wasn't just a bad movie, it was a turning point. And Rachel Zegler, she wasn't just the star. She was the symbol of everything audiences were turning away from. As the memes piled up and merchandise sat untouched on store shelves, Rachel Zegler tried to hold on. She doubled down on her vision in early interviews, promising fans they'd love her modern take. But as attendance dwindled and critics piled on, her tone changed. She became defensive, emotional, desperate. In one Instagram video, eyes red and voice shaking, she said, "To everyone who hates, when I win, I hope people still line up to see me." But by then, no one was lining up. Theaters were empty. Toys were unsold, and Disney had already started wiping her name from upcoming projects. What should have been her breakthrough moment was now a warning to every rising star in Hollywood. One bad move, one viral comment, one failed project, and it could all come crashing down. It didn't stop at empty theaters. It didn't stop at canceled projects. Disney took one more step, and it was the most chilling of all. They started deleting Snow White from existence. Social media teams stopped posting updates. Mentions of the movie quietly vanished from official Disney channels. Marketing pages were pulled, promo materials deleted, press kits hidden. Executives once proudly promoting a new kind of princess were suddenly silent. It was the corporate version of wiping your ex from Instagram. No traces, no acknowledgements, no explanations. Insiders say the studio wants to move on without drawing more attention. But the internet never forgets, and fans noticed the purge instantly. This wasn't just damage control, it was full-scale abandonment, the kind of move that says, "This never happened, don't ask us about it, and don't expect a sequel." Just 2 years ago, Rachel Zegler was riding high. Her breakout role in West Side Story earned critical acclaim and award buzz. She was being hailed as the next big thing, a fresh face in a stale industry. Casting her as Snow White was supposed to cement her stardom. Instead, it nearly erased it. Now, casting directors are pulling back. Studios are hesitating. Future projects that once had her name attached are being restructured or quietly shelved, and the question lingers. Can she come back from this? Hollywood loves a comeback story, but it also has a long memory when things go wrong, especially when the failure is this loud, this public, and this expensive. Rachel Zegler isn't just navigating a tough PR moment, she's trying to salvage a career that was almost legendary before it ever truly began. But this story isn't just about one actress or one movie. It's about Hollywood itself and what audiences are willing to tolerate. For years, Disney bet on reimagining its classics with modern twists, social commentary, controversial casting, edgy dialogue. But the public sentiment is shifting. Fans want stories that feel timeless, not timely. They want nostalgia, not lectures. They want magic, not moral grandstanding. And with Snow White's collapse, Disney may finally be listening. Insiders reveal that the company is reevaluating every upcoming live-action remake. The new rule: stay true to the original, avoid controversy, cast for talent, not Twitter trends. Studios are pivoting fast, and Rachel Zegler's fall may be the moment that forced them to act. So what now? Will Rachel Zegler own the failure, or disappear from the spotlight for good? Will Disney revive Snow White quietly in the future, or leave it in the vault forever? What's clear is this: this wasn't just a box office flop. It was a full-blown cultural moment, a line in the sand, one that reminded everyone, from fans to filmmakers, that no brand, no actress, and no studio is too big to fail when audiences stop believing in the story. And as Disney quietly pretends, Snow White never happened. The rest of Hollywood is watching and taking notes. In the end, Snow White wasn't just a movie. It became a mirror, a reflection of everything wrong with how studios misunderstood their audiences. For Rachel Zegler, the fallout was immediate and personal. For Disney, it was financial and reputational. And for everyone else, it was a reminder of what happens when storytelling gets replaced by messaging. So while Disney tries to bury Snow White and move on, one thing is certain: the internet won't forget. The fans won't forgive. And the industry? It may never be the same. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more deep dive stories behind the headlines. What do you think? Can Rachel Zegler recover? Or is this the end of a Hollywood fairy tale before it ever began?